Hi everyone, this is Dr. Katherine.Kelly, and I decided I was going to do a little bit of a different video for this month. I'm talking about soul searching this month, and what better way to talk about soul searching than to basically walk you through a labyrinth. And I am at the Well of Mercy in the middle of North Carolina. It is about 40, probably maybe 35 degrees out, so it's a little bit chilly. But I'm here for an event today, and I got to thinking, wanted to walk as I'm talking and do this video, and talk about the soul searching process. Now, labyrinths are metaphorical for lots and lots of things, but really the whole thought of a labyrinth is wandering through life to find your way, to find who you are at that deepest place. I'm going to turn around here and show you that center stone in the middle is really the quote end goal. And so I started walking this morning, and I thought, I'm going to go ahead and do this video from here because this is perfect. So you're going to have to bear with me as I jiggle and as I walk and watch my way so I don't trip. So, soul searching is something that we do in many, many different aspects of life, many different times of life. I want to talk first about sort of the dark night of the soul. We tend to do the most soul searching when we are in the depths of darkness, when we are feeling like life is crumbling around us, things are stopping, we're not getting where we want to be. And again, how perfect of a metaphor than walking through a labyrinth to help you get to this place. And I was mindfully walking this morning and thinking, how many times have I thought I was going in the direction that I was supposed to go? And then there's this turn, there's something that happens. It could be the life, something that happens in the human condition. It could be, a change was a change in a job or a change in a relationship, a death in my family or friends. And it's one of those things where, boy, we have so many different opportunities to do this soul searching that we really have to think about, are there times when, those things are happening? Universe creates it, God creates it, whatever term you want to use, because we haven't been going within. We have things that we're supposed to do that are supposed to take us to that deeper level, to take us to that soul level, so that we can actually get where we're supposed to be. Now, I've said before, we don't often know where we're going until we get there. And, we have so many different twists and turns in life. And again, I'm rounding a turn right now that makes me laugh because it makes me think I'm going to the center. But this one actually takes us around. It takes us kind of looks like a detour, but really it's a far way around. And how many times have we done things that have taken us a longer path than we thought it was supposed to? But it still was part of the journey. It was part of how we needed to get where we're supposed to be. So when I talk about soul searching, we can actually stop to be conscious and do some of the soul searching ourselves. And I encourage people to do this at the end of every year. I do it at the end of every year. And I'm going to show you, it looks like I'm almost there. But then you look at the path, and there's a whole lot more that you need to go through in order to get to that center space. And oftentimes you don't realize that there's a lot more work to do in order to get there. But that's part of the journey. That is part of the soul searching journey, is to basically be mindful that these twists and turns are part of our life. Now, I was talking to a friend this morning on the way here, and he was telling me that his life, is about to take another big turn. Something he did not expect, something that it was, a big turn. He had this mission in mind of what he thought he was supposed to be doing. And he's worked really hard over the last several years to create this. And after doing some meditation, he realized that it's time to let that process go, that it's time to let that, what he thought was the end goal, go. And he realized it would bring him more peace to let it go than it would be to hold on to. So again, how many times do we have to face things that we have started to create, or we've started to feel like, this is my thing, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and you go full speed ahead, and you think you're going in that straight line, and then you have a twist, which is timely with how I'm saying this and turning. You have a twist that basically takes you in a different direction, but then you realize it is a better direction for now. And, I said a few months ago in social media and also in a session, this is how it came up, that, we think we know who we are, and then it all changes the next day. And that's part of evolution. That is the soul's path. That is part of us getting to know ourselves, is to realize that this whole labyrinth of life, this journey, is the whole thing we're supposed to be experiencing. It is the process, and I know you can't see me very well right now. It's that whole process of embracing each twist and turn, but then knowing also when to do the soul searching. My soul health model is all about soul searching. It's all about aligning our lives. So we have these 10 branches of the human condition, and I'm going to name them and see if that helps to kind of jog some memories here. But we have the physical, the psychological, social, interpersonal, we have intellectual, occupational, we have financial, environmental, we have spiritual, we have sexual, and we have recreational. So there are these 10 branches of the human condition that all of us at some point in our life have to figure out what is me? What do I balance in this? What do I need to clean out, and what do I need to fill up? And then we have all these other things that we need to do the soul searching about. We have to heal trauma. We have to get very clear with who we are. We have to go through relationships to learn things that we wouldn't have just normally learned on our own. We have to go through different moves, or we have to go through different goals that we think we're supposed to accomplish. And then we have to twist everything around and go, wait, that's not what I'm supposed to do. So the soul searching is such an important part of our journey, but so many people resist it. So many people put themselves in a place where they'd rather put blinders on than actually understand that this soul searching is part of the process. And it can get very exhausting when you would think it would be more exhausting to do the soul searching, but it's actually more exhausting to avoid it. And the reason I say that is, and I say this when I talk about the soul health model also, is that it's much, much harder to be something we're not. It takes more energy to be something we're not. We pretend, we take energy that doesn't align with who we are, but we think that we are supposed to keep on a line. But if it doesn't fit who we are, it's not going to do us good. It's going to actually exhaust us more. It's going to misalign us from our truth. And it takes so much more energy to work our way back than it would be if we had listened to ourselves all along. And, I learned this at a very, very young age. I was, learning this actually when I was in my young 20s. And I was realizing that there were so many things that didn't fit. There were a lot of things I didn't feel like I fit growing up. I didn't feel like I fit with friends. I didn't feel like I fit with family in many ways. And it was exhausting because I was constantly questioning myself. I was constantly saying, why am I not fitting in? Why does this not work for me? Why are a lot of the things my so-called peer group or friends doing that I quote should fit into, why don't I want to do those things? Why doesn't that feel good to me? And so when we try to put ourselves in a situation that is misaligned or it's mismatched with who we are, it's more exhausting because our soul is trying desperately to tell us in one way or another that it doesn't match for us. But, our heads, our ego, our human condition, our peers, our family, whomever might be telling us that we have to do things a certain way. But if it doesn't match, it doesn't match. And so we really have to get to that point where we realize that our journey, and I was talking to my friend about this morning, our journey is all about realigning, and refining what we know about ourselves. And so we're not supposed to know who we are when we think we are. When we're in teens, we think we know who we are. But we're not supposed to, because we have long lives that we're supposed to take as figuring this out and figuring out bit by bit, because evolution is a slow process. And evolution, I've said this before, it never happens as fast as we'd like it to, and it never happens in a straight line. And walking this labyrinth is such a good metaphor, and I'm going to stop and turn around so you can see. It's a really beautiful labyrinth. They've done a very good job of not only designing it, but also maintaining it. And I want you to notice one thing. I don't know if you can see, it's actually quite beautiful metaphorically. I'm going to hold this up so you can see it differently. I'll pan around for you. But when I first got here this morning, I realized half of it is green and the other half of it is kind of the brown. And what a metaphor. You know, we have half of our life where we're struggling and we're trying to get through life. And then oftentimes another part of our life is like, wow, this is really green. This is lush. This is wonderful. And all the while we're twisting and turning, and we never know when we're going to end up in a sunny part, and a green part, and a fertile part, or when we're going to actually end up in kind of a darker or gringy part, some, you know, part of life that doesn't feel like there's as much life to it. And so, you know, going back to this journey, we really have to get to this place where we realize that the twists and turns are there to season us. You know, I talk about seasoning our soul. I talk about, you know, those different phases and stages that we go through in order to get to know ourselves. And sometimes there's tragedy involved. Sometimes there's high stress. Sometimes there's a great deal of loss involved when we have to, you know, really learn about ourselves. But then in a consciousness state, when we are able to recognize that those things happen for a reason, and those twists and turns are there to help us grow, help us see things in a new way, help us see the beauty. And I'm going to show you, I've made it to the middle. So when we can, it's kind of timely now that I'm thinking about that, you know, when we can get to that point where we realize through that conscious evolution that every twist and turn, every one of those pathways is there to help us, then we get to this center point. I'm going to, again, point this out. I'm right to the center point. We get to the center point where we realize, wow, we do have some agency over our discomfort. We have some awareness. We have some power over getting through things that we didn't think that we could get through. And so that soul searching is such a beautiful part of life. Now, I lost my father very young. I was 21 when he passed. He was 9 when he had his accident. I think I started grieving then because our entire family changed. And I didn't know. I was 9 years old. I didn't know about grief. I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of getting through life. But, you know, there was a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort from a very young age on. And that taught me to be more aware. That taught me to be really to embrace life. You know, it taught me at a very young age that, you know, life can be taken at any given time. And I was even thinking about it this morning when I was journaling, that I really try to live as if it's my last day every day. So I live very fully. I live very richly. I don't mean from a financial experience, but I just, you know, I try to take life in. It doesn't always work. I can get down to the doldrums too, but it is about getting to that center point and realizing that we are the center point. You know, this is really metaphorical. This center point right here, I'm going to try to lean this down again. This center point really is our soul. It is the center of who we are. And if we just allow the path to take us there, we can get to that center point. We can get to that soul. We can get to that anchor that basically is in the center of all these twists and turns, but it's always there. That center is always there. And so when I think, and I'm going to start walking out, when I think about this whole idea of the path, you know, the soul's path, and I talk to people about this every day. I talk to people about their soul's path every day, that, you know, whatever the twist, whatever the turn, whatever the event that gets your attention, the jolt, the emotion, the situation that gets your attention, that is all there. That is all part of our experience so that we can evolve. And just like, again, I love the idea of this labyrinth, but just like a labyrinth, we are not going to get there in a straight line. And as I say, you know, as I said before, you know, evolution never happens as fast as we'd like it to, and it never, ever happens in a straight line. So when we get to this point of realizing our center, I'm going to see if I can point to this. I don't know if I can do this on the camera or not. But if we can get to that center point and realize it's always there, and know that our soul is the anchor for us, know that that center point for us is the most important thing that we will ever have a relationship with. If we can get to that point, then we've got a lot. You know, we are entering very dark times. We're entering very challenging times as far as what's going to be happening in our country, what already is happening. It didn't take very long for things to start happening. And I think the thing is, and I've said this a number of times already, but, you know, our soul really will be our salvation. If we can get to that center point, if we can find that space that we know is the anchor, And we consciously know how our path has gotten us here. And we also appreciate that all of the difficulties that we've been through, if we can get to that point where we realize, wow, the difficulties we have been through have anchored us, have seasoned us, have really taught us who we are. We would not be who we are without those twists and turns in life. And it's all about how consciously you maneuver them and how consciously you get through them and learn from them and embrace them and observe them and then take yourself to that higher level. It's all about that. It's all about taking those experiences and taking yourself to that next level. So in closing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk really quickly about my E.V.O.L.V.E acronym, because you've seen me say this before. It's on my website. It's in different places. But I'm trying to remind people that that E.V.O.L.V.E acronym is also part of our evolution. It's part of anchoring ourselves, and it's also part of our soul searching. And again, the word evolve makes all the sense in the world. So we have the E, we have the V, we have the O, the L, the V, the E. So the E is for examine, the V is for vision, the O is for observe, the L is for learn. There's a car coming by. L is for learn. The second V is for venture. So what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do to take yourself to a new level? And then the last one, the last E is for elevate. So the E.V.O.L.V.E, examine, envision, observe, learn, venture, evolve. So all of those words can take you down that soul searching path. They can take you to that place where it will help you get to your center, and it's going to help you anchor. And my guess is that if you use this E.V.O.L.V.E acronym throughout your life to get you where you need to be, it's going to help elevate everything. Now, I'll also talk about my 3 levels of discernment, and so 3 questions of discernment. The first one is it meaningful? Second one, is it necessary? Third one, is it something that feeds your soul? Though that acronym and those 3 questions of discernment can take you a long, long way in terms of that soul searching process. So, I'm going to let you take another good look at this labyrinth. It's just a really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful labyrinth. And just think about your own soul-searching process and what you can do for yourself today. Have a wonderful day. Again, this is Dr. Katherine.Kelly. I am really loving this whole process of teaching you more about the soul, and I have so much more to teach. So thank you for listening, and have a great day.